Today, we're talking about a topic that's often overlooked. What happens after someone leaves prison? It's a journey called reentry, and let me tell you, it's one of the most complex and important issues we face as a society. So, let's start with a number it's just massive. Every single year, the United States spends $80 billion on prisons and jails. That's a huge public investment. But you have to ask, what are we really getting for it?
You see, almost all of that $80 billion is focused on the time someone is inside. But what about the moment the gate swings open and they walk out? That's when the real work, the real challenge for both that person and for our communities truly begins.
So first, let's really get our heads around the massive scale of this reentry challenge. We're talking about the huge hurdles facing formerly incarcerated individuals who are often called returning citizens as they try to piece their lives back together. And the cost isn't just some abstract number for society, it's incredibly personal. Incarceration has a devastating economic impact. We're talking an estimated loss of $500,000 in lifetime earnings for an individual. Just think about that. That is a financial hole that's pretty much impossible to climb out of. And that financial hole? Well, that's just the start. For returning citizens, the road to a new life is just filled with these huge, overlapping barriers that can feel completely insurmountable. Let's break down what they're up against. Okay, let's start with education. This data from Connecticut really paints a clear picture. A staggering 65% of people leaving prison there don't have a high school diploma. Now, just imagine trying to find a stable job without that basic credential. It's almost a non-starter. So, you've got the education barrier. Next up, housing. You know, a stable home is the absolute foundation for rebuilding a life. But for more than 1 in 5 people leaving prison in Connecticut, that foundation is just gone. From day one, they're released into homelessness or a shelter. And then you have to layer on the health crises. This number is just staggering. 94%, almost everyone in the reentry population reports having a substance use problem. And for over half of them, it's a serious or extremely serious issue. These struggles are so often tied up with mental health challenges, creating another gigantic barrier to getting back on their feet. Now, here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. The weight of these challenges is not felt equally. This chart shows us that in Connecticut, Black and Hispanic individuals make up a much larger share of the prison population than they do of the general population. This means all those barriers we just talked about, education, housing, health, they fall heaviest on communities of color. Okay, so that is a really complex web of challenges, right? But here's the good news. A whole network of community-based organizations is stepping up with proven, people-first solutions that are actually breaking the cycle. This quote from former Connecticut State Rep Robin Porter really gets to the heart of it. The goal, she says, is to help returning citizens contribute positively to their communities. And that really highlights the strategy here, working together and using data to figure out what actually helps. So what does this work actually look like? Well, research shows that these kinds of community-level approaches are incredibly effective. We're talking about things like mentorship from people who've been through it themselves, services that are tailored specifically for men or for women, and transitional housing that comes packaged with other support. It's also about job training, skill building, and, this is so important, helping rebuild family connections. And here's what that can look like in the real world. In Connecticut, they've set up a whole network of re-entry roundtables. It's basically a coordinated local effort to meet people where they are, right in their own communities, with the specific help they need. So beyond this really essential community work, some innovators are looking at this from a totally different angle. They're exploring how technology could tackle rehabilitation by going right inside the brain. The big idea here is something called neuroplasticity. It's a fancy word, but it just means your brain has this amazing ability to rewire itself throughout your life. The thinking is that a huge life change, like leaving prison, creates this unique window of opportunity where the brain is extra adaptable and maybe more open to building new positive habits. So how do you actually harness that? Well, one pretty futuristic proposal is to use immersive technologies, like virtual reality. The idea is to create these safe, controlled virtual environments where someone can practice real-world skills, like a job interview, before they even get out. And we're not just talking about VR for job training.
Some are looking at augmented reality to overlay digital information onto the real world to help with learning. Some proposals get even more futuristic, exploring brain-computer interfaces to directly help with cognitive restructuring. The whole goal is to use these cutting-edge tools to make rehabilitation faster, more effective, and maybe even more efficient.
So you've got these two really different paths, right? You've got the data-driven, human-centered community approach, and you have this very high-tech neurological approach. So what's the best way forward?
Well, ultimately, the goal is to transform a financial burden into an economic asset. Because successful reentry isn't just a social issue, it's an economic one. When people succeed, it strengthens communities and benefits everybody's bottom line. And that means the best path forward probably isn't an either-or choice. It's about combining that proven, on-the-ground community support that helps with immediate human needs with these pioneering technologies that could accelerate rehabilitation. If we do both, we have a real shot at breaking the cycle of recidivism.
Which leaves us with this final question to chew on. We've seen the undeniable power of human connection, and we've seen the incredible promise of technology. Maybe the real challenge isn't choosing between them, but figuring out how we skillfully and compassionately blend the two to finally unlock that gate for good.